Welcome to Bite Size, a series where I take a short look at a short game. I think I'm gonna run over, so let's get going. Tonic Trouble is the kind of obscure video game series you stumble upon randomly, usually while doing some surface level research about Rayman on Wikipedia. Expand the Rayman tab at the bottom of any Rayman themed page, and there, under Related, is Tonic Trouble. And you click on it like once, and then 5 years later remember, oh yeah, Tonic Trouble! And look it up and see that the PC version is abandonware. And better yet, some mad lad named Garo on the Rayman wiki created a patch to get the game running on modern systems, in widescrreen, with basic controller support. What a Chad. The console version of Tonic Trouble, featuring a limbless hero platforming around a three-dimensional Michel Ancel-inspired world, was quickly overshadowed when Rayman 2 The Great Escape released 2 months later. I'm not saying it was better than The Great Escape, but the console version of Tonic Trouble is still a good old-fashioned early 3D platformer that holds up pretty well. But notice I said video game series earlier, and that's because, like Rayman 1 and 2, they made a Game Boy Color version, which only released in Europe. Ew. And because they sort of have a Rayman sub-series going on, I figured I'd check out Rayman's younger brother before moving on to the Game Boy Advance. Look forward to that. So, let's get into it. Here's Tonic Trouble for the Game Boy Color. Released in 2000, a year after the console version, it was developed by RFX Interactive. Ooh, that can't be good. You play as Ed, a limbless extraterrestrial janitor who accidentally dropped a, quote, toxic can onto Earth, causing it to morph drastically into a zany, wacky world. Ed is sent to retrieve the tonic from the Viking Grug, who has become the ruler of the world. Ed is aided by Secret Agent XYZ and Doc the Inventor, who provide advice and new abilities respectively. These characters are all given a bit more introduction in the console version, but here they just keep you moving to the next part of the game. And Doc's big buxomed daughter, Susie, is absent from the handheld version. The game has 6 worlds, 3 levels each, unlocked successively, and each third level features a boss fight. In each world you'll need to find 6 of a special item for Doc, like keys, springs, or dominoes, and there are 2 in each level, which is helpful information in case you missed one. These items can be pretty well hidden, so you need to be observant and look for out-of-the-way platforms. You'll also collect some thermometers. Agent XYZ explains that there are 9 in each world, and collecting them all rewards you an energy bonus point, i.e. more health. That's nice and all, but when you die and only respawn with 3 hit points, regardless of your max capacity, that kinda sucks in later parts of the game. These purple blobs are apparently mercury drops, and they heal you. Golden mercury drops are essentially health refill stations, the golden Ed heads are your extra lives, and these arrows are checkpoints. A spiral door marks the end of a level. Control-wise, the game is pretty faithful, albeit pared back, to the console version. Ed starts World 1 with no abilities besides a jump and a reliable ledge grab, alongside 2 abilities unique to the handheld version. The first is a crouch and crawl, not especially handy, but I used it to dodge these toasters toast.
All toasters toast toast.
The other, a double tap run, sees limited use since most of the platforms in this game are rather narrow. It's accidentally activating the run that you have to watch out for, because it sent me off a ledge more often than I like to talk about. Oh, and you can swim, but they never do anything interesting with it. Since you don't have a weapon, you spend World 1 avoiding enemies and projectiles as you dodge fireballs and platform across lava. It's more challenging than you might expect. Side-scrolling aficionados will be fine, but this really doesn't feel like a World 1, ease you into it, that sort of thing. For the first boss, you use the popcorn machine, a power-up that transforms Ed into Super Ed, giving him massive bulk and super strength. You slap the boss around and save Doc, who, at the end of each of the first 4 worlds, rewards you an item to add to your capabilities. I'll talk about the specific items in a second, but the problem with the items is that to switch between them, you need to press select, scroll over to the item, equip it, and then exit the menu. This can be clunky, and you'll be switching items a lot in this game, especially the closer you get to the end. I'm getting ahead of myself, but just look at this part from the final boss. The first item Doc grants Ed is a stick so he can attack enemies, like these carrots who occasionally block your path. Fighting with your stick is fairly basic, with most enemies going down in 2 hits. Just make sure to watch your spacing and you'll be fine. This stick is the most convenient way to dispatch enemies, so you'll have it equipped most of the game. Its other use is to deflect certain projectiles. The World 2 boss is an ear of corn that spits popcorn at you, so you have to deflect it back by swinging your stick. The deflection timing is wonky, and even by the end of the game it gave me issues. I typically go with the swing away strategy, like Joaquin Phoenix in Signs. It works, kinda. Doc's second item is a blowpipe, so Ed can kill enemies from afar. This is particularly useful for projectile enemies like these blue guards that throw thunderbolts at you if you get too close. You need to equip your blowpipe to take potshots at them. Due to the low resolution and sprite size, you often have to position enemies right at the edge of or just off screen so you can shoot at them without them firing back. Ed uses bees for ammo, so you'll now find those scattered around levels, and they keep you pretty well stocked. I don't remember ever running out. The blowpipe's main problem is that you can't jump with it equipped, so you have to go back to the stick to do any platforming. This is where you first experience switching back and forth between items. Not an issue yet, but just you wait. For the third item, Doc grants you a magic wand, which is thankfully context sensitive, only usable in specifically marked locations so you can transform into an enemy. There are count 'em, two enemies that you can transform into. A grand mummy so you can use its sarcophagus to warp to another point in the level, and a chef guard so that this platform appears to walk across. Okay, you can also transform into this soldier guard, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't do anything. The wand's really not that fleshed out, and you hardly ever use it. Doc's final gift is a pogo stick, which allows you to travel across exposed electrified cables. Not too bad, but if you die or fall back down onto them, you have to re-equip the pogo stick and cross the cables all over again. And that, like stopping to use the blowpipe, can get very tedious, very fast. The pogo stick only sees use in World 5, but maybe that's for the best. The bosses are typically the kind where if you know what to do, the battle is pretty much already won. One exception is in World 4. The boss seems to be these wheelchair mummies who can be defeated but are tricky to dodge and constantly respawn. Actually, the boss is the sarcophagus in the background. It doesn't give great feedback, but it does take damage when you whack it, and will start to crumble. The trick is to do that while dodging wheeling grandmummies, doing donuts nearby. The damage feedback was so bad that here I am, whacking the sarcophagus, even though I already won. The final boss is the other exception. The fight against Groog and his tower begins with a chase sequence. The walking tower chases you and you jump across these little platforms. Some normal, some give way, and some move back and forth. The screen doesn't scroll all that fast, and it's easy to get overzealous and jump to a falling platform before the next one appears and fall to your doom. And any mistake sends you back to the beginning of the chase. Not that bad, right? I timed it. The chase lasts 3 minutes. Better make sure to not accidentally run and overshoot a platform. When you do reach the end, you fight this tower by shooting 3 targets so he comes down and drops balls on you, so you can deflect one and hit Groog when he falls out. Here's the target shooting I showed earlier. The item switching really sucks. And here's the deflection part. Even Joaquin Phoenix would find this difficult. Beating Groog wins you a block of text and a short cutscene showing the planet returning to normal. There's more that could be said about Tonic Trouble on the Game Boy Color, and apparently I had a ton left I wanted to say for some reason. Like how pleasant I find most of the first 4 worlds, or how big a nosedive the last 2 worlds are, or how this rising purple flurp level is a piece of shit and I wish Call Weasel would come and drink it all up so no one ever has to play it again. But this is bite size, and it's time to wrap things up. Ultimately, Tonic Trouble ends up feeling clunky. Not just due to item switching, but even just platforming around. For context, let's compare Ed's sprite to his older brothers. Rayman stands at 30 pixels tall, whereas Ed is 40 pixels. Rayman is only about 1/5 of the screen height, and all the other sprites are sized accordingly, so it feels like he has a lot of space to maneuver around in. But Ed is over 1/4 of the screen height, and with the other sprites sized similarly, the screen just feels cramped. So, do I think you should play this game? No. But you do what you want. If you've made it this far, you've seen it, you know what it's about. I played it, and I'm glad I did because that's another obscure game under my belt. But I'm not going to play it again, that's for damn sure. If you've played any version of Tonic Trouble, congratulations, that makes 2 of us. If you have a bite-sized game to recommend, let me have it. Thanks again for checking this out, and I hope to catch you in the next one.